Hi and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you haven't visited before. For those who have seen my videos before, you can probably see that I'm at the cabin where I'm planning on reading a lot and make some videos. My last video was about audiobooks and my relationship to listening to books, and I've been thinking a lot about the physical mediums of books lately, and today I thought I would talk about my relationship with this guy. Or the lack of relationship. Firstly, I bought this Kindle before I actually started reading. I thought if I just bought an ebook reader, I would start reading at once. And there were so many good reasons for buying one. Good battery life, I could always have this device with me. I had tried reading some in the Kindle app for my phone earlier, so I thought this would be a much better experience because of the great lighting, and you can change the type so it became bigger and the screen is a bit bigger. In the end, I even talked about the weather resistance of this device and talked about the great advantages of sitting outside in the cold, damp environment around my house and read. It just shows you how silly I can get when trying to justify my purchases. But nevertheless, I started reading more when I bought the Kindle. And of course, since I bought the Kindle, I had to read some books to justify me buying it, and so I did. And the great thing about the Kindle is that it takes up not that much space. The other thing is that classics are basically free, so you can download all the classics and don't pay a thing. So that was the great motivation. I filled up my Kindle with old classics and I started to read. And if you're going on a trip, you can have as many books as you want to with you, and that's a great advantage. And it doesn't take up any more space and it doesn't weigh you down. The thing that surprised me was the gamification aspect of the Kindle. You could track your progress and watch how many percentages have I read today, and that's a thing I really enjoyed. But maybe the biggest surprise was how fun it was taking notes, because if you marked something, it would suddenly appear on your Amazon page, and very easy to take notes, remember things, and export it to other devices. So I could have very neatly track of what I liked, of some quotes from the book that I would like to revisit, and so on and so forth. And especially with non-fiction, this was a great feature, because when reading non-fiction, you would like maybe to remember more than when reading fiction, and you could have it all in one place and store. I can't see a lot of disadvantages by owning an e-reader, because they have so many great features and they are so simple and nice to use. But still, I haven't read any books on this thing in months. And why is that? Well, as a beginner reader, I really enjoy having these books in my shelf, just watching them, taking them out, looking through them, reading on their backs, reading when they're published. Having the physical medium in my shelf means too much to me, especially as a beginner reader, and I talked about this several times, that I'm trying to fill up my shelf with books I've read, and it seems to be important to me, even though I think it's kinda lame as well. And one thing I did not really enjoy with the Kindle is that every book looks the same, because it's all in black and white, and you have just a cover page in black and white, but all in all they just feel like the same book. I know that it's the content of the book that matters, and of course it matters most to me as well, but choosing books that seem similar on the outside just bugs me. And when I pick up this book, for example, and I see through it, I can sort of feel like if this is going to be the right book for me at this time, and that's a part I really enjoy. Also, when people visit, it's easier to brag about the books I've read in my shelf rather than showing them my Kindle and go through the books. When they see my shelf, they go, wow. When they see my Kindle, they go, so that's a very good point. Also, it's about having a collection of memories, because each book I've read is like a memory, good or bad, that I would like to store in some ways, and I would like to talk about them now and again, and I'll forget about that if I don't have them in my shelf, and I'll feel like I'm losing something that I would want to have. A bigger question, who actually owns your books if you have an e-reader? Because you have to fill out some very, very long forms before you download the book. So there's that. Not that that has been an issue for me, but still a thought. I also have to say that if you sit with a book on the subway or on the bus, people look at you differently with a physical book than with an e-reader, and I just find that interesting, and I think that having a book is a bit more social in a way. I haven't thought about that too much, but people act differently around you if you have a physical book than if you have an e-reader, probably because they think you have an iPad or something, which shouldn't be a problem, but when I'm trying to become a bookworm, I'm also very much enjoying people looking at me as a reader, because then I feel much more intelligent right away with certain types of books. A funny thing about people thinking that you're sitting with an iPad or something, I've on several occasions read books on my Kindle in front of people, and they remark that I should be more social. But if I have a book in my hands, they won't say a thing. And that's very interesting, if you ask me, because when sitting with an iPad or something, it's no excuse for being antisocial or anything like that, but if you're sitting with a book, that's sort of a proper excuse, it seems. Which is kind of dumb, but also I understand that it is that way because people tend to view reading as something that's worthwhile or something intelligent or something good that you are supposed to be doing, and that I find very, very interesting. But that's probably on some level why I'm doing this, because reading seems like something sensible. Besides that, I actually enjoy the process, of course. To conclude, this guy in many ways got me started with reading, and I will be forever grateful for that. But will I ever read something on this guy again? I don't think so. It would have to be under extreme circumstances. It would be if I went on a long trip and I ran out of books and there were no books to be found. Maybe then I would read the Kindle app on my phone and then pick up the Kindle when I got home to just finish the book I started reading. But then again, I think I would have gone out and buying the books that I've read, because some of the books I've read on my Kindle I really regret not buying so I could have them in my shelf. And so that's one example. Another example would be if you're going away for many months and you know there won't be a bookstore in sight. That would be one reason. But other than that, I love the physical books. It's just difficult to see where a book would not be the better of the two. Maybe if you read a book that's 1500 pages plus, it would be easier on the Kindle just because it's difficult to hold, but other than that, I don't know. That's my update on my relationship with the Kindle. Do you use an e-reader or read on your phone? Do you have examples of where this is a great advantage? Please comment below because I would love to hear your thoughts, and thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!